In this video, we will have a look how we can just touch on the screen and we will move this game object in that position. As you can see, wherever we touch on our mobile screen, we just moving in that position, basically our player game object in that position, as you can see. Okay, so without furthering delay, let's dive into this topic. And if you want to support me, guys, you can do on patreon.com. You can donate. And if you are belong in from India, if you are from India, then you can donate through UPI. It will help me a lot. Okay, so without furthering delay, let's dive into this topic. Everyone, once we touch on the screen, mobile screen, in that position where we touch, I want move this player game object to that touch position. Okay, so let's create a script for that. So what we will do, we're gonna go to our before we do all of this thing, we need to go to file in the top left, then build settings. Okay, in the bottom you can find, just click on that and make sure you just select this Android. Okay, select that first and click on switch platform in the bottom right, you can see. Okay, so just click on that and you're gonna switch to Android. Make sure you just do that. And once you are Android, okay, let's create a script for that. Before we do that, we need to do some settings on our mobile. Okay, so let's go to our mobile screen and let's set that up. Okay, go to your mobile screen and go to settings. Okay, go to settings on your phone, then go to about phone. Okay, then detail info and specs. Basically you have to find the version. Okay, version, just tap on that until it says you are now a developer. Okay, just click just press on the version name or the build number of your phone. Okay, by going through about phone. And after doing that, once it says you are now a developer, then move over to settings one more time and find over here developer option. Or what else you can do, you can just scroll down. Okay, and go to additional setting of your phone and then scroll down, you can see developer option will be enabled, so just click on that. Okay, click on that and scroll down. Make sure you just enable this USB debugging. Okay, make sure you just enable this USB enable, basically switch to debugging mode when USB is connected. Basically enable this. Okay, make sure you do this, and once you done, just move over to Play Store now. Okay, just go over to Play Store and find right over here Unity Remote. Okay, Unity Remote, just click on that and you have to install this Unity Remote 5. Just install it and open that up. Okay, so uh, uh, just go to our Unity Remote, just find that and now select and you are good to go. So let's go to our laptop screen now. Okay, now what we have to do, let's create a script for that. Okay, to move our player game object. So let's go to project tab, then assets, right click on assets, then create C# script. Name it to something like mobile input or player. It's totally up to you what you want to name it. Okay, so I already have my in script folder, so I'm going to select this player game object. So select the game object, in which game object you want to implement the thing. So I'm going to select this player game object and let's select the script and drag it to add component section. Or what else you can do, just click on add component and find the script by typing name of the script. Okay, and attach that. So once you are attached, double click that to open up in Visual Studio. So as you can see, by default we have start and update function. I'm going to remove this start function, we don't need it for now. Instead what we're gonna do, we're gonna move over to update function, because update function runs every single frame, so that's why. So in here we're gonna store touch. Okay, so let's check right over here. So let's check if make first bracket and some curly brackets. So I'm gonna check if input. Okay, so we're gonna gather some input. So input dot touch count if it's greater than 0. Okay, means what does this means? If input dot touch count, if it's greater than 0, means we just touch on the screen. Okay, we just touch on the screen. So that's why touch count is greater than 0. 0 means we haven't touched yet on the screen, but if input dot touch count is greater than 0, means we just touch on the screen. So what are we gonna do? Firstly, let's store that touch into a variable. Okay, so let's store that into a variable. So we're gonna check right over here, input dot get touch. Okay, get touch, and make this first bracket, and if you pass index 0, 0 means basically the first touch, and if you pass right over here 1, 1 means the second touch, and 2 means the third touch, basically index. So I'm gonna check for first touch, so that's why I'm gonna put right over here 0 means the first touch, and close that up with semicolon. And we're gonna store this touch, this first touch, okay, input dot get touch, into a touch variable. So let's create a touch variable and touch, and let's call this one something like touch. Let's set equal to this. Okay, so we just firstly we checking if we touch on the screen or not. So if we touch on the screen, so this touch count won't be greater than 1. So that's why we just touch on the screen, and then we just storing that first touch, or what we basically, when we touch on the screen, we just storing that first touch into a this touch variable. Okay, touch, as you can see touch, and we can check the touch conditions, something like did it just ended, did it just begun, did it just stay, did it just ended, something like that. So we're gonna go to down, and we're gonna check if touch dot face. Okay, touch dot face we have to type, and we can check the face of the touch. If it's equal to, we're gonna check, as you can see, touch face dot begins just means started, and we can check for is it moved yet or not, stationary, ended, cancelled. We can check anything like that. So I'm gonna check for touch face dot begins mean just started. Okay, and make some curly brackets. So firstly what we're doing, firstly we're checking if we touch on the screen or not, and if it's if we just touch on the screen, so this touch count will be greater than 0. So greater than 0, something like 1. Okay, and then we just taking the first touch, we just getting the first touch, as you can see, input dot get touch, and we storing the first touch into this touch variable, and we checking the touch face. Okay, basically we just moving over to this touch. Okay, and we checking the face of that touch, if it just ended, began, or moved, something like that. So we just checking for if it's equals to just begin, touch face dot begins means just started. So what we want, if it's working or not. Okay, I'm gonna print out a message on the console. So printing out, let's type debug dot log, and let's say in quotation touch, we touch on the screen, or touch on the screen, something like that, touch on the screen, and close that off with semicolon, control S to save your code. And now let's move to Unity. So we should able to see when we touch on the screen, that message just gonna pop up underneath our console tab. And make sure you just do the thing as I did on mobile, those settings you need to do that. Okay, make sure you just do it, and then you can check. So I'm gonna select the console, and so let's hit this play button in the top. Before we do that, make sure you just go to file one more time in the top left, then build settings, and then click on player setting right over here. Okay, and then just go to editor. You need to go to editor, the editor in the top. You can find editor right over here. Then you can see device, Unity remote. Make sure you just select it from this none to any Android device. Make sure that, and once you are done, just cut them those steps, and hit this play button in the top, and open up on your mobile Unity remote application. Okay, open that up quickly, and hit this play button in the top, and I'm gonna select the console right over here. Okay, now if I try to touch on my screen, as you can see, indeed that message just popping up in the console. Okay, if I touch one more time, as you can see, as many time I touch on the screen, that message just popping out on the console. Okay, so what we want, so I'm gonna unplay this now. Instead of printing out message, okay, instead of printing out message, I'm gonna go to script. I want to move this game object, okay, in that position wherever I touch on the screen. I just want to move this position, so let's go to there. And what we're gonna do, over here we just taking, so we will create a vector2 position. Okay, vector2 position, so let's create a vector2. Okay, vector2, let's call it something like touch position, something like that, touch pose. And I'm gonna set equal to touch dot position. Okay, touch dot position, and close that out with semicolon. So we created a vector2 variable which has x axis and y axis. So this touch pose gonna have x axis and y axis, so basically this x axis and y axis. Okay, and we set equal to touch dot position. Okay, wherever we touch, so we touch right over here. So this position gonna have x axis and y axis as well, so that's why we created a vector2. Okay, so this will be in screen coordinate, so we need to convert this into a world coordinate. Okay, so to convert this into screen to world coordinate, what we need to do, we need to just go to the camera, then dot main dot screen to world point. Okay, and just put this touch dot position into these brackets. So basically we just moving over to this main camera, then main, and just accessing screen to world point. Now we can check. So instead of printing out message, what I want to check the position of this touch pose. Basically, if I touch right over here, I want to check the position of this. So it's gonna have x axis and y axis, and how much far is the position from the center. That position gonna have x axis and y axis, and we're gonna check how much we just move ahead in the x axis and y axis. Okay, so for that we're gonna type debug for printing out debug.log, and we can check the touch pose. So let's suppose touch pose dot position, or you can type x as you can say, or you can leave it like this, means touch pose which has vector2, which has x axis and y axis. So we're gonna able to see the position in the x and y as well. So debug dot, so we just printing out the position, okay, or vector2 which has x axis and y axis wherever we touch. So close that up with semicolon, control s to save your code. Now let's move to Unity. So once we touch on our screen something right over here, we're gonna able to see the position touch pose which has vector2, which has x axis and y axis. So we're gonna able to see x position and y position of that touch. So let's hit this play button in the top, and may just touch on your screen anywhere. Okay, and we're gonna able to see the position of that just gonna pop up underneath our console tab. Okay, so if I touch right over here, as you can see the position of it in the x, which is 4.34, and in the y 3.56. And if I try to touch center, it's gonna be 0 0, something like that, or close to 0. As you can see, 0.30 and minus 0.32 in the y, and 0.33 in the x. Okay, so we just printing out the message. So I'm gonna unplay this. So instead of printing out message, what I want to move this player game object in that position wherever I touch on this screen. I want to move this game object in that position. Okay, so in order to do that, so I'm gonna clear the console. Let's go to script now. So instead of printing out message, we will go to transform dot position and set equal to, so transform dot position means current position of our player. Basically this transform to this player transform, just moving over to this transform, then position means current position of our player game object, and I want to set that position equal to touch pose. Okay, touch pose dot position, sorry, you can set like this touch pose which is a vector2. So this transform dot position is a vector 3 variable, and this one is a vector 2. You can convert this one into a vector 2, but it's not, we're not getting any error, something like that. Sorry, we're not getting an error, so we're gonna leave it. And if it says something like you cannot convert to a vector 3 a vector 2, then just put like over this vector, sorry, something like this, vector 3. Okay, vector 3, and it's gonna convert into a vector, this touch pose into a vector 3 variable. Or you can just remove this vector 3. Okay, you can get rid of this, you don't need to. So control S to save your code. So once we touch on the screen, we just setting our current position of our player wherever we touch. Okay, touch pose, as you can see. Firstly, we just getting that touch position, and we just converting this into screen coordinate to world coordinate. Okay, make sure you just do that from this screen coordinate to world coordinate. Okay, so make sure you just do that, and we storing that position, or wherever we touch that position, into a this touch pose variable. Okay, or in this position, and in the then we just moving over to current position of our player, and we setting equal to that position wherever we touch. Okay, so control S to save your code, and now let's move to Unity, and let's hit this play button in the top and try to touch right over here. So we're gonna able to see in the top right corner on our mobile screen, we're gonna able to see this game objects just gonna move in that position right away. So let's check it. As you can see, indeed, and if I touch in the bottom, we can see it's going in the bottom, then up, then down, wherever we can, as you can see. I hope you get the idea of this, how you can just move any game object wherever you touch on the mobile. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. So I'm gonna unplay this now.